I didn't even have shoes
I'm
on.
not afraid.
I just ran. I grabbed that shovel off the porch railing and I ran straight at it, barefoot, in the dark, screaming like a crazy person, and I did not stop, because Biscuit was out there, and that thing was already moving toward him, already closing the gap, and it was the biggest snake I had ever seen in my life. Let me take you back to that night, because if you had told me at the start of that summer that I would be standing in a Mississippi yard at 2 in the morning facing down a 14-foot python, I would have laughed at you. But that is exactly where I ended up, and here is what I know for certain. The quiet out here is not always peaceful. Sometimes the quiet means something is already sliding through the wet grass toward the one thing in this world you love most, and you have got about 3 seconds to decide what kind of person you are going to be.
You're a good boy, aren't you?
I was 14 years old that
Yes, you
summer.
are.
My dad had already been gone for 8 months. It was just me and my mama and that yellow lab puppy on 60 acres of red Mississippi dirt, and something had been living on our land for weeks before we ever knew it was there. This is the story of the night I almost lost him, the night I found out what I was actually made of, and the one shot that changed everything. Stay with me. It was late July in rural Mississippi, the kind of night that sits heavy on your chest, when the air is thick and warm and the crickets just won't stop. My name is Cole Dawson. I was 14 that summer, and the farm had been in my family for 3 generations. We had 60 acres of red dirt, a broken down tractor, and a back porch where my daddy used to drink his coffee before the sun came up. That year, Daddy was gone, left us 8 months before without so much as a goodbye note.
Hey there, buddy.
It was just me,
wrong?
my mama,
Just
and Biscuit,
some
a yellow
bills.
Labrador pup
Maybe
I'd
this will
gotten
help.
for my 12th birthday. Biscuit was more than a dog to me, he was the thing that kept me going when the nights felt too long and too quiet. He slept at the foot of my bed every single night, followed me everywhere I went, and when I cried, which I did more than I'd ever admit to anyone, he'd just put his big dumb head right in my lap and breathe slow, like he was trying to remind me how to calm down. That summer, something else moved onto our property. We didn't know it yet, but it had already been there for weeks. It started with the chickens. 3 of them went missing in one single week. My Uncle Dale said it was probably a fox.
They don't listen.
He said that same thing every year when something went wrong on the property: blame the fox, forget
They
about
say
it,
the river
move
brought 'em
on
in
with
the
your
60s,
life.
hiding in those bottom
But I'd
lands.
grown up around
I've
foxes
done
my
all
whole
that.
life, and
Sounds
foxes
like a
left
tall tale
feathers,
to me.
foxes left blood and mess and signs of a struggle. These chickens just vanished. Then the barn cat disappeared, and after that, one of our goats came up lame with 2 strange marks on the back of its leg. My mama didn't say much. She had enough weight on her shoulders already. We were behind on the mortgage, the crops had been poor that summer, and she was working double shifts at the diner in town just to keep the lights on. I was alone on that farm most nights, just me and Biscuit and whatever was hiding out there in the tall grass down by the creek. One evening near sundown, I saw something move slow through the soybean field, something long, something that didn't have legs. I told myself it was just a water moccasin, the creek was full of them every summer. But the shape I saw was too big, too slow, too deliberate, like it had nowhere to be and all the time in the world to get there. It was a Thursday night in August. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Shadow, stay!
I woke up at 2 in the morning to Biscuit growling low at the foot of the bed. That dog never growled, not at anything or anyone. He was the friendliest animal on God's green earth. He'd let complete strangers pet him, let the barn cats walk right over him while he slept, never once showed his teeth to a single living thing. So when I heard that sound coming out of him, something ice cold moved all the way through me. I sat up straight and just listened. Outside, everything had gone completely quiet. The crickets, silent. The frogs down by the water, gone. That kind of quiet doesn't just happen for no reason out here. It happens when something is nearby, something big that doesn't belong. I got up slow and moved to the window.
I saw something.
The
out
moon
there,
was half
I
full that
swear.
night, just enough pale light to see across the yard. I pressed my face against the glass and looked down toward the porch, and I saw it. At the edge of the porch steps, coiled in the shadow, was the largest snake I had ever seen in my entire life. I didn't scream. I don't know why. Maybe I was just too scared to make a single sound. The snake was enormous. I would find out later it was a Burmese python, probably 12 or 13 feet long at least, maybe more. It had been somebody's pet once, most likely released years before when it got too big to manage, and now it hunted our land like it had always belonged here. It sat completely still at the base of the porch, and Biscuit, that stupid brave little dog, had already jumped off the bed and was scratching hard at the bedroom door trying to get out. I grabbed him, held him tight against my chest, and whispered at him to hush. My hands would not stop shaking. The snake moved, slowly. It raised its heavy head off the ground and seemed to taste the night air, its tongue flicking in and out in the dark over and over again. It knew we were in that house. I swear on everything that it did. I backed away from the window, sat down on the floor with Biscuit pressed up against me, and I did not move for what felt like a full hour. When the sun finally came up, the snake was gone. I went out on the porch and found the old welcome mat had been shoved to the side, like something very heavy had dragged itself right across it during the night. There were wide smooth tracks pressed into the soft dirt at the base of the steps. I called Uncle Dale first thing. He came over that same afternoon, walked the whole property without saying much, found a pressed-down trail cutting through the tall grass behind the barn, and then he went quiet in a way that scared me a whole lot more than any words could have. That evening he set up 2 large wire cage traps near the creek, baited them with live mice from the feed store in town. He told me to keep Biscuit inside at night no matter what, and to call him the second I saw anything at all. He didn't tell me everything was going to be fine. Uncle Dale never lied to me like that. That night I barely slept a single hour. 2 nights passed without a single sign of it. I started to breathe again. Biscuit seemed to relax too, slept through the night like normal, and I almost managed to convince myself that I had exaggerated what I saw, that maybe it had moved on to somebody else's land. Then on the 3rd night, I woke up to a sound I will never forget for the rest of my life. It was not a growl this time. It was a cry, a sharp high-pitched yelp that cut straight through the dark and pulled me up out of sleep like a hand grabbing my shirt. I was out of bed before I was even fully awake. I hit the light switch, the back porch light flooded the yard, and what I saw through that screen door stopped my heart dead in my chest. Biscuit had pushed out through the loose corner of the screen door. He'd done it before on warm nights, just wedged his nose under the edge and slipped right on through. He was standing in the yard, and the python was already moving toward him, sliding through the dew-wet grass, faster than I ever expected something that size to move, faster than anything that big had any right to move in this world. I screamed. I don't even know what words came out of my mouth, probably nothing that made any real sense. I hit that screen door so hard it swung back and cracked against the wall. I ran out into the yard in my bare feet, in nothing but my boxers, not thinking about a single thing except getting to that dog. Biscuit was barking now, frozen stiff in place, the way animals do when fear just completely overrides every instinct they have. The snake was maybe 8 feet away from him and still closing that gap. I grabbed the first thing my hands could find, the long-handled shovel that was always propped up against the porch railing, and I ran straight at it, swinging and yelling with everything I had. The snake turned its head toward me, raised up slow, and for one long terrible second we were just staring at each other out there in the dark.
Oh, thank goodness.
Then the back door banged wide open behind me and Uncle Dale came out onto the porch.
Panting.
He must have been sleeping on the couch inside that whole time. He had the farm rifle already in his hands. He didn't say a word, didn't hesitate for even half a second. One shot rang out across that yard, and it was over. The snake measured 14 feet and 2 inches from end to end. It made the local paper that week. I still have the clipping tucked away in a shoebox somewhere in my closet.
I'd lost you.
Biscuit was not hurt, not even a scratch on him.
You're safe.
He climbed straight up into my arms the second it was done and licked my face for 5 full minutes, and I sat right down in that wet grass and held him, and I did not care one bit that I was crying.
It's all right, son.
Uncle Dale came and stood beside me and put his big hand on my shoulder and said, "You did good, son."
Yeah, I think I am.
3 words, but they meant more to me that summer than just about anything else anyone has ever said to me in my life. We got the farm back on solid ground that fall. Mama found a better job in town before winter, and I grew up a little faster than most kids my age ever have to. People ask me sometimes, does that night make you afraid of being outside, afraid of the dark, afraid of living on that farm? And the honest answer is no. It never did. What it did was teach me to pay attention. It taught me that the quiet out here is not always peaceful. Sometimes the quiet means something is already moving toward you through the grass, and you had better be ready when it gets close.